what's one thing that's on your radar screen that I haven't asked you about?
Oh, we have entered the Friday afternoon summertime bad news dump window.
So that's
Deshaun Watson ruling.
That's it?
I'm on Deshaun Watson watch all afternoon. If Judge Sue Robinson is on board with the NFL's preferred approach, and look, what did we get last Friday afternoon? Texans settle 30 claims.
Yeah.
Right? By Monday morning, we've all moved on. I mean, there's value in it. Even though we're all tied into Twitter all the time, there's value in having it dumped now because by Monday there's other stuff to talk about. It's not going to be as intense. I'm watching because I think next week is the real window. But if she's on board with the way the NFL likes to get that news out there, it's coming this afternoon between now and 5 o'clock.
But it really wasn't 30 claims against the Texans, right? Did the Texans have to, do that? That's the one thing that I found interesting about that announcement last week was there was only one individual who made a claim against the Texans, actually named the Texans, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. There was one lawsuit. But the universe of people who could have made claims against the Texans was 29 others.
And they knew that, but where did they find that? Is there a website?
Represents all of them. So these are all pre-lawsuit settlements. And look, they didn't even have it. I hadn't thought of this until you brought it up.
Okay.
They didn't have to tell us about the other 29. That's one of the benefits of settling a case before it's ever filed. You never even tell anyone. No one ever finds out. All we had to know was the one case against the Texans was settled. The fact that they put out there that they did all 30, that to me is surprising because if I'm the Texans, I don't know that I want to admit that I've written a check to 30 different people who accused me of wrongdoing in connection with Deshaun Watson, but my only guess could be that they decided they want everybody to know that their role in this is over. So it's not just we settled one and we're going to sit back and wonder whether or not number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and so on will be coming. Everyone knows we're out. It's done. Quit asking us about it. Quit talking about it. We're finally and fully moving on from Deshaun Watson.
Well, I mean, they said in their statement this is not an admission of any wrongdoing, but instead a clear stand against any form of sexual assault and misconduct. I mean, parse that one for me, Counselor.
Every civil lawsuit that gets settled either before or after the complaint is filed contains language saying there's no admission of wrongdoing. Deshaun Watson testified that their director of security, when he became aware that there was a woman who was suggesting she could expose Deshaun Watson on social media, instead of figuring out exactly what's going on, asking all the right questions, giving him all the right advice on how to change behaviors that could lead to those types of allegations, he just gave him an NDA to use, non-disclosure agreement. Here, you're going to go get these massages, have them sign this, then they can't go on social media and make threats about you. So I think that there needs to be a closer look at what the director of security did, what he knew, what he should have known. And this gets back to the double standard that we see sometimes between the way the league treats players and non-players. The league won't respond to the question of whether or not they investigated the Texans for personal conduct policy violations. The Texans won't respond. But at the end of the day, they settled 30 potential lawsuits, one actual and 29 potential lawsuits based upon allegations of their misconduct. And if you're going to potentially run Deshaun Watson out of the league for a year, if that's what you're looking for, how do you not even look into whether or not somebody with the Texans should be punished under that same policy?
Well, I'm kind of also looking at it different. Is this something that Sue Robinson can take into account, or everything was the hay, if you will, was already in the barn and there's nothing else? So she's just the documents and the testimony on which she can rule, that's already done. Nothing like this could be added to the equation where one of the 32 teams in the NFL says that they're taking a stand against any form of sexual assault and misconduct. I mean, isn't that basically saying they think Deshaun Watson did it?
Well, if I'm representing Deshaun Watson, the thought process I go through, and it's a tough decision. There's no calculator that you can punch the numbers into and get the right answer. Mm-hmm. When you catch wind of the Texans settling these cases, you ask yourself, should we send a letter to Judge Robinson explaining this new information, asking her to consider it, asking whether or not there will be an appropriate investigation here, and if there is not going to be an appropriate investigation, then that is relevant to whether or not the punishment of Deshaun Watson should go forward. The other side of it is sometimes if you fire that cannon, you end up pissing off the judge and you complicate your life and you get smacked down. That's really the analysis. Is what I'm about to do something that's going to piss off the judge in a way that potentially affects me. And, lawyer, even though I don't know that many judges get mad at a lawyer and then look at the case more skeptically, but the lawyers definitely are worried about it. So there must be something to this notion of tiptoeing on eggshells and making very, very careful strategic decisions. But I would at least consider making sure she knows that the Texans have paid out these settlements, and what the league does about the Texans' behavior or the allegations against the Texans under the personal conduct policy is a relevant consideration for what a fair outcome is for Deshaun Watson.